On December 15, 2020, a frantic 911 call echoed through the dispatcher's headset. Brad Helus, in a panic, claimed that his wife, Amanda, had tragically fallen down the stairs. First responders rushed to the scene, expecting to find a typical accident. However, something about the situation didn't add up. The scene appeared odd, with the evidence telling a different story than what Brad had described. Amanda was found unconscious, her body marred by severe bruises, far more than could be explained by a simple fall. As paramedics worked to stabilize Amanda, her husband Brad, along with his father Scott and their young son, stood nearby, visibly distraught. But something wasn't right. Investigators, piecing together witness statements, medical reports, and even Amanda's personal messages, started to see a troubling pattern. The inconsistencies in Brad's story began to unravel, suggesting a far darker truth lurking beneath the surface. Was Amanda's fall truly an accident, or was there something more sinister at play? With every piece of evidence gathered, the investigators' suspicions grew. It was clear this case was far from straightforward, and the deeper they dug, the more shocking secrets were revealed about Brad, his family, and Amanda's life. What appeared to be a tragic accident was now starting to look like something much more sinister, and the quest for answers had only just begun. Amanda Helus was born in 1987 in the quiet, rugged landscape of Montana. Her mother, Michelle, was just 16 years old when Amanda came into the world, and life was anything but easy. Abandoned by Amanda's father, Michelle found herself in a battle on two fronts, fighting to provide both financially and emotionally for her daughter. The struggle to make ends meet was constant, and the weight of the world often pressed down on Michelle's young shoulders. Yet, despite the hardship and uncertainty that came with being a single mother, Michelle's love for Amanda never wavered. She did everything in her power to provide the nurturing environment her daughter needed. With the cards stacked against them, Michelle made sure that Amanda always felt cared for, even when the world outside seemed unforgiving. Love, as much as it could, was a constant in their home, and Michelle instilled in Amanda a deep sense of resilience. Though their financial situation was often tight, Amanda was showered with emotional support. Michelle's determination to shield Amanda from the burdens of their life shaped her daughter's strength and independence. Michelle's struggles became Amanda's lessons, and despite the odds, they formed an unbreakable bond. While life was far from perfect, Michelle's unwavering commitment to her daughter created the foundation for Amanda's bright spirit and fierce determination to dream beyond the limitations of her circumstances. It was a bond that would guide Amanda through the challenges she would face later in life. Amanda grew up in a small, close-knit town where everyone seemed to know each other's story. While the tight community provided a sense of comfort, Amanda quickly realized that her life was different from many of her peers. Her family's financial struggles were a constant reminder of how far they had to go, and Amanda felt the weight of that difference. However, rather than being discouraged, she used it as fuel to build a strong sense of gratitude for the things she did have: her mother's love, the small victories, and the values Michelle instilled in her. As she moved through her childhood and adolescence, Amanda's sense of independence grew. She knew that if she wanted to help her mother and make something of herself, she would have to work hard and make sacrifices. She threw herself into academics, knowing that education was her ticket to a brighter future. At the same time, she worked part-time jobs, doing whatever she could to ease the financial burden on her mother. Amanda didn't just see hard work as a means of survival, she saw it as a way to give back. She dreamed of becoming a healthcare professional, a field where she could use her compassion and determination to help others. Her desire to make a difference in people's lives was born from her own experiences of struggling and being helped by the love and sacrifices of others. Amanda's dedication and perseverance shaped her into the determined young woman she was, ready to face whatever challenges came her way. In 2010, Amanda met Brad Helus, a confident and dependable firefighter who seemed to embody the qualities she valued most. His steady presence and commitment to helping others immediately drew her in. Like Amanda, Brad came from a background where family and stability were essential. They connected over their shared belief that a strong, supportive family was the foundation for a fulfilling life. As their relationship deepened, they discovered more common ground in their outlook on life. Both had come from humble beginnings and understood the importance of hard work and dedication. Brad's dependable nature complemented Amanda's independent spirit, creating a balanced partnership built on mutual respect and understanding. Their love blossomed, and soon they made the decision to marry. They held a modest ceremony, keeping it simple yet meaningful, surrounded by close family and friends who had witnessed their journey together. For Amanda, marrying Brad felt like the start of a new chapter, one filled with love, stability, and the promise of a family. Shortly after their marriage, Amanda and Brad decided to start a family of their own. They were excited about the future, eager to build a life together filled with laughter, growth, and shared dreams. Their first child was a symbol of that future, and Amanda poured all of her nurturing energy into becoming the mother she had always dreamed of being. In many ways, meeting Brad had given Amanda the sense of peace and security she had longed for, and their shared life seemed like the perfect fit. Amanda and Brad's life together seemed to follow the path of many young couples, building a family and creating a future. They welcomed 4 children into their home, and each one seemed to solidify their bond as parents. The house was full of laughter, love, and the kind of joy that comes with raising a family. Amanda, ever the nurturing mother, thrived in her role, always putting her children's needs above her own. However, as time went on, Amanda started noticing changes in Brad. He began withdrawing more, retreating into his work and distancing himself from family life. Initially, Amanda chalked it up to the demands of his job as a firefighter. The long shifts, the stress of the job, it all made sense in the moment. But over time, the distance between them grew more noticeable. Brad, once attentive and present, now seemed detached and aloof. Amanda's concern grew, but she hesitated to confront him. She didn't want to be too critical, knowing how hard he worked to support the family. Still, the changes were hard to ignore. His temper seemed shorter, and he would often retreat into silence instead of sharing his thoughts or feelings. The closeness they had once shared started to slip away, and Amanda found herself questioning what had happened to the man she married. As much as Amanda wanted to dismiss the changes as just temporary stress, deep down, she knew something wasn't right. But she continued to make excuses for him, hoping things would improve on their own. The cracks in their relationship were beginning to show, though Amanda tried to hold it all together. In late 2019, Amanda's worst fears were confirmed when she uncovered that Brad had been unfaithful. The signs had been subtle at first. A missed call here, a text message there, but her gut had been telling her something was off. The realization hit her like a ton of bricks. She was crushed, heartbroken, and unsure of what to do next. She confronted Brad, hoping for some honesty, some explanation, but his response was far from what she expected. He denied everything, brushing off her concerns as paranoia and baseless accusations. Despite his denials, Amanda couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. She began to monitor his activities more closely, searching for the truth that seemed so elusive. The more she dug, the more she discovered. Brad's infidelity wasn't a one-time mistake. It was an ongoing betrayal. The evidence was undeniable, and it left Amanda devastated. Yet, despite the mounting proof, Brad remained distant, dismissive even. His indifference only deepened Amanda's sense of isolation. He showed no remorse, no willingness to repair the damage he had caused. Instead, he continued to retreat into his own world, leaving Amanda to pick up the pieces of her broken heart. She had always trusted him, but now she found herself questioning everything: their marriage, their family, and the man she had once known so well. Amanda's world was crumbling, and with each new revelation, it became harder to reconcile the person she had married with the one standing before her. The betrayal was profound, leaving scars that would take years to heal. In April 2020, the tension that had been building between Amanda and Brad reached a boiling point. What started as a heated argument quickly escalated into something far more dangerous. Words flew, accusations were hurled, and before Amanda could react, Brad's anger took over. In a violent outburst, he destroyed her phone, the tool she often relied on to connect with the outside world. But that wasn't the worst of it. Brad then grabbed her aggressively, forcing her into a corner both physically and emotionally. Amanda, terrified and trapped, knew she had to act quickly. Her father, who had been a constant presence in her life, became aware of the situation and immediately called the police. The thought of involving law enforcement was something Amanda never imagined, but at that moment it was her only option. She felt powerless and scared, unsure of what Brad might do next. The aftermath was devastating. A restraining order was issued not only against Brad but also his father, Scott, who had always been a part of their family dynamic. This was a shocking development. Amanda had never anticipated that she would be forced to protect herself from Brad's family as well as him. The once close family ties were shattered in an instant. This was no longer just a marriage in trouble. It was a dangerous and toxic situation that had spiraled out of control. Amanda was now at a crossroads, faced with the painful reality that her safety and well-being had to come first, no matter the cost. Scott Helus, Brad's father, had always been a looming presence in Amanda's life. After moving in with the family, his influence grew, and not for the better. His strict, old-fashioned views on marriage created a tense and suffocating atmosphere. He often sided with Brad, turning a blind eye to the destructive behavior that was playing out in the household. Amanda, already dealing with her own troubled marriage, now had to navigate the hostility and judgment that Scott brought into their home. His presence only deepened the tension, making her feel even more isolated. As Amanda began to make plans to leave Brad, it became clear that Scott was not going to allow her to walk away easily. His disapproval of her decision turned into open threats. He was furious at the idea of losing control over his son's life and what he perceived as the breakdown of family values. These threats weren't just empty words, they were meant to intimidate Amanda, to make her feel like there was nowhere she could go, no safe place for her to escape. Scott's toxic influence over Brad seemed to amplify the abuse Amanda was already enduring. It was clear that Brad wasn't just acting on his own. He had the support, or perhaps the manipulation, of his father. Together they formed a powerful, destructive force that Amanda felt powerless to break free from. As she struggled to protect her children and herself, Scott's constant threats and intimidation kept her trapped in a nightmare she couldn't escape.